Welcome, my friend, to Next Level Change Success. I'm Therese, a change strategist and practitioner with over 20 years of experience designing and delivering impactful change programs across various industries. In this podcast, I share real-world practical strategies to help you create and deliver positive change experiences, whether you're a leader, practitioner, or someone looking to bring new ways of working to life. In today's fast-paced world, change is constant. Here we focus on how you can put people at the centre of your change strategy, because people with a sense of purpose are the most important link in driving performance. So if you're ready to create meaningful change and achieve all the success that comes with it, keep listening. Together, let's change the conversation and take it to the next level. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Next Level Change Success. My name is Therese and I'm the founder of myvirtualchangemanager.com. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm recording on Tharawal country and pay my respects to the traditional owners and custodians on the land on which I am recording, and to elders both past, present and emerging. So today I'm talking about resourcing and different aspects of resourcing when it comes to change and options that you have, whether you're in a project environment or not, and whether you're mature in that discipline or not in your organisation. So there's a couple of different things to consider, and I will distinguish the two environments, which are project related, so very different when you're resourcing a project, and finding the balance can be quite difficult. So I want to talk a little bit about that and some of the roles that you really struggle with when you're looking at different projects and programs and different considerations you might need to have. And then when you come to the BAU aspect, the business as usual, everyday change perspective, loud and clear, I'm going to give you the key resourcing strategy, but also link it through to how maturity can improve over time in your organisation and a strategy that you could look at with that. So let's first start off with the concept of within a project environment. So whilst it seems a little bit contained, it can be quite difficult when it comes to resourcing to consider about who to apply what to, I guess, when it comes to resourcing. The couple of considerations that I do want to highlight, because I think they're really practical, and if you're in a situation whether you're the project manager looking to resource for change, or whether you're a project management office person who's looking to see how they can resource appropriately, or you're having to do that juggle from a change management office perspective, you might be familiar with some of these concepts, because from my experience, definitely throughout the years, there are different lessons you learn as you try and apply different methods, but also as you get feedback from stakeholders and ideas from stakeholders, which sometimes are not the best, but something that you have to work with. And so the first thing is to look at the piece of work that you are looking to resource for. Part of your consideration is where the project is up to. Sometimes if you bring a change person on too early, and I know it's one of the key things that change people talk about, is that they get frustrated that they're brought on just at the end and for implementation. But the reality is if you bring a change person on too early, you may be bringing someone in who's going to do nothing more than agitate within that space as the business is trying to sort itself out around what they actually want to deliver. And sometimes that can be counterproductive. So what you want to do is ensure that you're going to time it right when it comes to change and bringing the person in at the right time. My recommendation is that once a business case is approved, once the scope is clear, or at that point where you realize that progress is happening fast and you need someone in to start communicating, someone who can come in, hit the ground running, support the project in how to communicate so that they can start to get the message out about that piece of work. That's what you really want to do, and bring the person in on at that point in time. So if this is a flagship program and this is highly visible from a strategic perspective, and you have the eyes of the organisation and external perspective or external eyes also on this piece of work, you want to ensure you have a highly skilled change person on this piece of work. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes I have seen this if an organisation isn't so mature, they will resist having a change person come in to work on the piece of work. They might have someone who's a great subject matter expert and they think, yes, let's bring that person in to either project manage it or change manage it. And that creates difficulty because subject matter experts a lot of the times are technical experts, and if they haven't really been trained in change management, but they also haven't delivered change in the way that change managers can offer that extra value in the planning, ensuring the stakeholder landscape is really clear, you will find that they will struggle and the program or project will struggle. And I've seen this, I've witnessed it, I've been in programs and seen the struggle with it. I've struggled with it myself. If I'm a change person coming in or someone suggests, oh, so-and-so can just take on the change component, and the worst thing is that they also believe they can, then you find that there becomes a really big struggle and you simply do not get the outcomes because they're not familiar with the narrative from a change perspective. They're probably slammed from a subject matter expert perspective, and then they think it's just communications and training that needs to happen as part of change, and so you don't get any of the extra value that you require on your project or program that a change expert can bring. And the importance of bringing that change expertise just keeps increasing and increasing as you're going through delivery on a high-profile project. So you want to make sure you do have the skill set. You might have someone who's delivered something similar before, or you might have someone who simply has the experience and maturity to hold the conversation and work potentially in the organisation that hasn't had as much maturity in that change space or that project space, and that they don't have an issue with it. So you want to bring that type of expert in on high-profile pieces of work. What I do want to say is that it is not a development-based environment. When you've got a high-pressure, high-profile piece of work to deliver, you cannot put someone in and set them up for failure, even though people do, and the outcome is the poor individual really feels it because they're out of their depth and because of the pressure, and they're having to be a subject matter expert typically as well as deliver the change, and they stress out and they stress the whole time and they burn out through that process and that experience. And the reality is that's happening because people simply aren't seeing the size of the piece of work and not considering the strategic intent of the piece of work. So you need to absolutely make sure that you're adequately resourcing for those situations. The next person who I want to talk about in the project landscape is a subject matter expert. And I have touched on this before in other seasons, just around subject matter experts who are also working their business as usual role and then expected to take on the project environment, the asks for the project, as well as manage a team potentially in their day-to-day and ensure that they're kind of one foot in both camps when it comes to projects and then the everyday work that they need to do. It's too much, especially if it's high-profile work. So you are better releasing that person and that subject matter expert to really focus on the project and then backfill that role. Now, that doesn't mean that that person then takes on the project management of that piece of work, nor the project management of that stream. Give them support and the proper project supports and expertise around them, and then set them up for success. It's the only way that it works in definitely the high-profile, high-pressure environments where you're not burning your people and having them have a negative experience. It's really, really important. PMs, of course, when it comes to change and big pieces of work, you want to make sure you have the right project manager, and you want to make sure you have a project manager who knows how to bring a team together and who, from a technical perspective, can make sure that they're raising risks and issues in an expedient way and who are strong in governance. When it comes to the project managers who are too technical, too schedule-based, they will fail in high pressure environments, because a lot of the times when it's a high profile project, you need really good stakeholder management skills, and that has to be really, really important, the interpersonal skills that your project manager has. Because when you have a change manager, a project manager, and a subject matter expert who are all coming together, who have great cohesion, then you're going to absolutely set yourself up for success. Then the easiest answer when it comes to a non-project environment is, when looking at resourcing, is to say you should be, as part of everyday change in organisations, upskilling your people in change and change management, in the tools, the techniques, where they can practice it in a safe way for the smaller projects that happen in business as usual. And you want to ensure that you're investing. If you have a high spend when it comes to project portfolio, or you have a big project or program, you want to make sure that your BAU people as well, that there are certain roles that are in that continuous improvement flow every day, and areas that you know are going to undergo change very soon, is that people and those who are your emerging talent, that they're invested in development space, and who are upskilled when it comes to change. Not to mention that also your leadership realm and those who are leaders in your business, that they're also invested in when it comes to change, so that they understand what it takes to lead change, whether it be in their team, with other departments, or organisationally. So they're the key things to consider when looking at change resourcing when it comes to business as usual or change in a project environment. I hope this helps. Come to myvirtualchangemanager.com. Every day we're publishing new things. We've got new tools. We've got new courses that we offer. So come along, sign up to our newsletter, stay in touch, and just remember that change matters because your people matter.